Welcome back, everyone. Sorry, it's been a while. It's been quite a while. Kind of just been busy with some things and going through some things. Uh, Good thing about being able to record this now is that the baby can snack. She has snack time now, so it gives me a little bit of free time while she's watching K-pop hunters to record stuff like this now again. Um, Quick little update. Last time I was on, I was lost my job and I was going through some shit. Uh, Still haven't found a job yet, so it kind of sucks. It is what it is. Uh, just trying to keep motivated every day and trying to just push forward every day. Um, I was supposed to get unemployment, but then, like, how do I say? It's like I was supposed to get unemployment, and then out of nowhere, it was denied, even though it was approved. It was like approved, and then like instantly afterwards, it was denied. I don't know what happened in the in between area. Um, Workman's comp was denied, so I can't really get my feet fixed or feet evaluated properly. Um, it's uh Overall, I'm just kind of just low, you know, not really depressed, just feeling low. But I try to push every day. You know what I mean? Try to look for a job every day. Um, look after the baby every day, take care of her, make sure she's good. You know what I mean? Like I said, at this point, she's standing. She hasn't gone to the walking part yet, but she's snacking, so I don't have to worry about her waking up during naps and stuff, or her screaming because she's always hungry now. So, I mean, it's good. Things are good and things are bad. You know what I mean? There's not much I can really talk about like that. All my plans that I originally wanted to do, I keep throwing it out the window because, like I said, just motivation. It sucks. It is what it is, but I take it day at a time. I'm hoping, depending on when this video gets released, hopefully this Wednesday, January 7th, I can actually get some money coming in because I haven't had any money come in since uh I think November, the beginning of November. Yeah. I haven't had a job since the beginning of November. We're already what, January? So I mean, it sucks. I used up all my savings. That was supposed to be like for emergencies only. Well, this was kind of an emergency, kind of a rainy day kind of situation. So it is what it is. But yeah. The other interesting thing. So the comic that I was working on, that does cost money to get up there. I did change artist, but it costs money to get drawn and whatnot. So the script and everything. That I was working on. It takes money to get that done, so I kind of put that on pause for a little bit until I get things back into normalcy or until I find a job. And you don't need just financial shit. Um, to all those that have been watching my videos that I try to post up when I can, I appreciate you. Um, the only interesting thing that I kind of have been working on is I wrote a fan fiction novel because I'm a big, huge comic book buff, comic book guy. Um, I wrote a kind of like a prequel story, a fan fictional prequel story of like Alfred. It pretty much uh it's like that TV show. They came out with a TV show called Pennyworth on HBO. I didn't really get to see it, just started watching it recently. But I decided to make a fan fictional novel tour. It puts it in so like I try to like spiritually add it to where it happens before Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and that Justice League movie. So kind of like a spiritual prequel. I did finish book one. Um, if anyone's interested, I'll try and put it in the description. I have it on like a couple different websites. I think Archive of Our Own, SquidgeWorld, fanfiction.net. Um, let's see. I have it on Tapas, Tapas. I have it on Wattpad. Those are a little bit more app friendly and user friendly, even though they have ads. So just gotta tolerate those. If you play mobile games, you know what I'm talking about. Um, let's see. Um, yeah, I finished book one. It's kind of like each book is loosely based on the TV show with my own twist to it. It's just pretty much, if I have time, I did watch season one, so I mean, I'll do like a review of it, and then I'll kind of like talk about my book and that in that review maybe, and the spoiler or non-spoiler review if I have time to do it. Um, let's see, because the first season was it was good. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what influenced me to write it because I couldn't a comics on pause, and then B, um, I just needed something to keep me occupied at the end of the day. I just was feeling unmotivated to do videos, but now I kind of just like I want to kind of get plugged back in. This is not just a promo for my 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 fan fictional novel, but it's like most of like what I've been trying to keep myself occupied with, and just to keep you guys updated and whatnot. But overall, I hope you guys are all doing well. Let's get into it. I haven't done this in a while, so it's a little rusty. I'm no longer six. That's a plus. We're gonna get into Action Comics number 15. Was released in August 1939. We're using the DC Universe app. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to use the app because, like I said, everything at this point, I pretty much I only have Netflix left, and however long this is gonna be up for, so we'll see. So we'll try and get as many videos as I can. Um, and then once everything gets back into like normalcy, like I said, we'll do more reviews again. So let's try and make as many videos as we can today and go from there. Like I said, hopefully good things happen again on this Wednesday on January 7th. As I was saying, we are using DC Universe app, Infinite app. Yeah, DC Universe Infinite app. We're not sponsored. We just use it for these read along reviews. It's kind of like an Audible. Just for those of you who struggle with reading or comprehension in reading, I mean, this is, if you're really good at listening and better at listening than you are reading, then this is good for you. If you have ADD or ADHD like I do, um, there will be extra commentary. That's just who I am. I will pause and stop, but yeah, let's get into it. I do like the cover. So what I noticed is that from this point on, I think they all start having like Superman covers. So um and like some of them were just like like random characters and whatnot. I assumed from that monthly uh issue, but now that I think they're going to be start having like the covers like more Superman focused because it started becoming a more popular character. But yeah, all right. Let me make sure this is done correctly. There we go. Superman by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Leaping over skyscrapers, running faster than an express train, springing great distances in height, lifting and smashing tremendous weights, posing and possessing impenetrable skin. These are the amazing attributes which Superman, savior of the helpless and oppressed, avails himself of as he battles the forces of evil and injustice. So that's a whole different new intro. I just want to point that out. And we have a little bit more detail to the Superman, and his costume, like the black lining and everything's a little bit thicker. Editorial office of the Daily Star. So we're still not called the Daily Planet yet. Take a trip to Kid Town and write up your impressions. It ought to make a swell feature. Say that is a good idea. When Clark reaches his destination, he is ushered into the presence of the man responsible for Kid Town. Tell me, Mr. Hollow, how do you happen to start this place? I was brought up in the slum areas myself, and I determined other unfortunate youths would grow up in a wholesome environment. The result was Kid Town, my life's work, in which underprivileged boys have a chance to rehabilitate themselves. Of the more than 1,000 boys here, most of them were on the road to crime, but now, with useful activities to keep them busy, they are on the road to clean, happy lives. And they owe it all to you. You must be very proud of your successful project. I'm afraid I count wouldn't call it very successful. We're deep in debt with 2 weeks of our mortgage will fall due, and that will spell the death of Kid Town. I can relate to this. It sucks. Sucks being behind on bills right now. How much money must you have to avoid foreclosure? At least 2 million. That's how much we need to pay it off, and to enlarge our town sufficiently so that we can take care of the thousands of requests for remissions, which we have found it impossible to accept. I would like to point out, I don't remember what issue, but I remember that like um, Clark has a whole bunch of like stocks that he made a shit ton of money on. So I don't know if he still has that. I don't know if you're going to use it this issue, but I just want to point that out. He is technically a millionaire. I don't know what he did with it, kept it or not. Clark reflectively walks back towards his office. I'm going to help Holiday. That I've definitely decided, but $2 million and to be raised within 2 weeks' food, that is a task for Superman. Hmm. I salvaged $1 million out of that oil stock. See, he brought it up, just like I did. Manipulation case, but how I'll ever raise that second million is beyond me. Oh, I gotta grab more, more snackies for the baby. 1 second. I got you. Here you go. He's eating like these little super mini vanilla wafers for babies. Um, within a nearby bank, a holdup is in progress. Let's get out of here. The cops will be here any minute. Come on. As the bandits rush from the bank, they find a solitary figure between them and freedom. Hey, stop. Out of the way, rush him. Look out, he won't die. Look, he won't die, sir. Bullets. Ha, I eat them for breakfast. That's interesting. That he just flat shows that to criminals. Goaded into action, Superman tosses about the fleeing thieves as though he was a juggler. 5,000 for a few seconds work, not bad. Only 995,000 to go. I insist you accept this $3,000 check. Your over your overpowering of those vile crooks as a is a sight I as a bank manager will not soon forget. 3,000 thanks. And you'll get another 2,000 for the capture of these desperate wanted characters. Look at that. He's getting paid. As Clark continues on his way, my luck must be improving. That was a stroke of good fortune. Through a quirk of fate, an only little man turns the corner and walks directly behind Clark. But I must have more money, gobs of it. Where? How can I get it? Uh, how strange life is. Here I have so much money, I don't know what to do with it all. And my existence bores me. From a nearby corner whizzes a car delicate mechanism, haywire running a wild. Hey, watch where you're going. Crash. Smashed in two, the tree crashes down toward the two maple apples pedestrians. Hap Hapless? Is that supposed to be helpless? Or is that an actual word? Hapless? For the two helpless pedestrians. That's how I suspect that word should be, but hapless is what we're gonna go with. Pinned beneath the tree, great weight, the little man is slowly being crushed to death. Help me. Can't let him die, but if I display super strength, it may give away my true identity as Superman. Tossing aside personal considerations, Clark leaps forward, pits his mighty muscles against the tree, crushing weight. Out you go. You're too you're too late. I'll die, and I don't want to. I want to live. Calm yourself. You're okay, except for a few scratches. You were great, superb, and I owe my life to you. I won't argue that. I insist you accept this check. It's a trifling sum, only $10,000, but you've earned every cent by saving my worthless life. You needn't insist. I'll take it. Just 985,000 more needed, Clark. Think you'll make it? Altogether, $15,000 is cold cash. In cold cash. Later, editorial office of the Daily Star. I've turned the Kidtown yarn over to a rewrite, man. Well, the well-known explorer Warren Kenyon is staying at the Barclay Hotel dash over and get an interview. When Clark reaches Kenyon's room, have you anything of interest to announce? I've just returned from a treasure hunt, and I'm glad to say I succeeded in acquiring a fortune. Congratulations. Say locating buried treasure must be pretty difficult. In some cases, locating it is no trouble at all. The difficulty arises when you attempt to salvage the treasure. Here's a map which almost every treasure hunter possesses. It marks a spot in the ocean where a Spanish galleon was sunk with its cargo of 1 million in gold, but so embedded in the coral is the ship that it's impossible to blast through to the gold. Like returns to the newspaper office. Here's a story, sir. Now could I have that long due 2-week vacation? You've earned it. Have a good time. Sunken treasure, 1 million in gold. Sounds perfect. Fabulous treasure awaits. Seekers claims Warren Canyon Explorer by Clark Kent. Among the many who read the article is Big Boy Cheney. Ruthless gang leader, fabulous treasure, eh? Another gang has ideas along a similar line. What's your plan, Marchetti? We've been wasting our time on penny ante rackets. 1 million in gold, that's what we're going after. Make a beeline for the Daily Star, Muggsy, and get the dope on Clark Kent, the reporter who wrote the story. Marchetti is plenty smart. Wonder why he wants me to check up on this Clark guy. So long, you lucky stiff. I wish I could get a vacation too. Where do you intend Where do you intend going, Clark? Don't know yet. Taking a vacation, eh? And right after writing that article, it sounds suspicious to me. When Clark leaves the Daily Star building, he is trailed by Muggsy to a shipping office. I'd like to rent a large boat for about 2 weeks can be arranged. The Dragon is available, but you'll have to hire your own crew. Muggsy reports back to his chief, and he rented the Dragon. I knew it. He's going after the treasure himself. Come on, we've got to get to the Dragon before he hires his crew. Upon reaching the pier where the Dragon is moored, Marchetti finds a number of sailors waiting to be considered for employment. See that those guys don't apply for the jobs? Get me? We got you. Quit shoving. Quit getting stiff, eh? In another moment, the pier is the scene of a free-for-all fight. After the sailors are put to rout, your men will do on a board. Shortly later, the Dragon moves out to sea bearing a weird cargo Superman and a crew of conniving gangsters. Hmm. Meanwhile, at the government Navy Yard, Big Boy's mob swings into action. All right, men, you know what to do and hurry, we haven't much time. Ugh. Noisily Chinese men take over the control of a government submarine and guide the vessel out to sea where the submerge from view. Sub stole, no track, mysterious mob pilot's craft. According to the wireless, the government submarine, the D-11 has been stolen. Strange there was also a flash about the impending foreclosure of Kid Town. Well, with luck, I should be able to avert it. Now? Not yet. First, we'll let him locate the gold for us. While the fugitive D-11 heads toward the same destination, days pass uneventfully as the dragon slowly wends its way towards its goal. Finally, the dragon reaches the spot indicated on the treasure map. The engines stop the engines, prepare the diving bell for use. Yes, sir. Clark enters, then its entrance sealed. The massive diving bell is swung over the ship's side and dropped beneath the ocean surface. One blow and we're rid of him. Not yet. Hold it. This is true. He's got to grab it first. The diving bell settles on the floor of the ocean with a jar, disturbing the strange creatures which inhabit the sea's bottom. Through the bell's glass observation port, Clark sights a weird vision, the shimmering wreck of an ancient galleon. Found it. I found the sunken ship. He's found it. We're rich. Okay, Muggsy now. Ruthlessly, Muggsy severs the airline which supplies oxygen to the submerged Clark Kent. Hello, hello down there. No reply. That's the end of him. Sorry. When the diving bell is hauled up to the surface, what the? He ain't in it. He's gone. Clark has forced his way out of the diving bell, so when the airlines was quiet, he was unaffected. Upon removing his outer garments, revealing himself clad in the Superman costume, Clark swims towards the wrecked galleon. He can hold his breath for hours underwater. It's a Spanish galleon, all right, and so firmly embedded in the coral that I don't wonder treasure hunters failed to break through into it. Sorry. Only down toward the man of steel lunges a shark. The lightning speed leap carries Superman out of the creature's reach. More sharks swoop to attack. Superman is surrounded by them on all sides abruptly, then they simultaneously close in. Um, Darting sleek figures, gaping jaws, the water churns as the Man of Tomorrow and a dozen sharks engage in a furious death struggle. Flailing, tearing, Superman beats back and destroys the deadly fighters of the sea who fail to pierce his impenetrable skin and evade his crushing metallic grip. Being back, the surviving sharks flee. Superman has emerged victorious. Whirling, Superman attacks the coral, rips it apart, sends it flying in all directions, forces an opening in the wreck's side. Then enters the ancient galleon, which has lain undisturbed for centuries. A few moments after Superman disappears through the ship's hastily contrived entrance, the stolen D-11 approaches within view. Investigate the galleon, then report your friend findings back to me. Good Lord, the bodies of the men who went down with the ship. Gold, ancient coins, and bullion. What's that? Sounds like someone's coming. Into the ancient galleon march the men from the D-11. The invaders are horrified to see a ghostly figure from some past era floating weirdly toward them and stretched. Drain half of their wits, they take to their heels. Superman removes the ancient Spanish costume he had donned. Ho ho, that was actually funny. I wonder who they are. He knows who they are. Come on. When big boys hirelings re-enter the sub, I'll tell you it was a ghost and he's after us for disturbing his resting place. Let's clear out of here. Are you guys going nuts? Expect me to believe that cock and bull story? What are you trying to pull? Look, he's coming. Go on. Oh my gosh, it's true. And he's start the engines full speed ahead. Superman nears the submarine and commences to get underway. The D-11 lies at the submarine that was stolen from the government. Reaching out, Superman seizes the sub in a grip of steel, preventing it from moving. It rips apart the propellers. Within the D-11, its occupants go half mad with terror. Why aren't we moving? Get going. Do you hear? Or you or I'll shoot you down like dogs. Something's wrong. You won't move. Along the floor of the ocean walks Superman, dragging the great bulk of the submarine after him. Whirling the D-11 up on end, he aims it upward and heaves it with all his might. The sub shoots out of the water into the air, so great is the force of the toss at the very side of the battleship, which is searching for it. Few shots from the battleship, and the crew emerges on the sub deck, hands raised in surrender. Donning his civilian garments, Superman swims to the surface alongside the dragon. 1 second. She wants more wafers. Here you go, baby. Tim, alive? Keep me alive. In the next hours, the ancient gold is raised from its resting place of centuries and placed aboard the dragon. The cargo-loaded Clux vessel sets out for home. This line was delivery cut. I better keep close watch on the crew. The knife, eh? He's asleep in his cabin now. Let's get this over with quick, and the millions ours. Within Clark's cabin, they couldn't, of course, know that my super hearing has enabled me to overhear every word. I'll be ready for them. Okay, so I don't know if this has ever been mentioned until now, but we finally get to hear about his super hearing. It's probably one of the very first superpowers we get to see. I don't know if was there another one? Is that X-ray I'm thinking of? I don't know. It's been a while since I read one of these, but super hearing was it's interesting that was finally brought into this. Um, and it's getting used. So it's a little interesting thing to see and to be kind of like uh what's the word I'm thinking of? Premiered? Yes, I don't know. Suddenly, the crew members creep into Kent's cabin. Muggsy raises his blade for the kill and smashes down toward the apparently sleeping figure. Holy cats, it broke. leaping erect. Clark tears into the gangsters, and before I finish with you, there will be so broken necks. When the dragon reaches shore, Clark turns his crew over to the authorities. I believe that immunity carries a stiff penalty, doesn't it? You bet it does, and your smart ideas. The next day, Clark again visits Kidtown. We've had the most amazing stroke of luck. Some anonymous person sent us $2 million donation. Kidstown's worries are over. If only we know who it was, so that we could thank him. Whoever it was, I'm sure that the knowledge has been able to help your fine cause is sufficient. Thanks for him. The end. I kind of butchered that ending right there, but yeah. Ooh, okay. So we might even like get a little bit more diverse from here. 'Cause it says the Sandman appears each and every month in Adventure Comics. Don't fail to read the thrilling and daring deeds of the Batman every month in Detective Comics. It's a little interesting thing we could probably add to our, little readings. We can add in Adventure Comics and the Sandman and maybe a little bit of Batman. Um, but yeah, overall, this was good. It was a little bit different from our normal, hero antics. There was no Lois Lane doing the damsel distress thing or, throwing herself into danger and, saying, fuck it, Superman help me because Superman will help her. That we always complain about. Um, there was a relatable thing to where, the owner of or the man in charge of Kidstown was kind of in a pickle of money. Granted, that's a lot of money, but it is relatable to where it happens to people. People get laid off, people lose their jobs, people, et cetera, et cetera. And when you get behind on bills, you try to find other situations or other outlets to help bring in money and help you catch up again. Like I said, I'm experiencing that right now, and hopefully things go well on the 7th, this Wednesday. The other thing is what I did mention, which I caught and I remembered, even though it's been a while, is that the $1 million stock. Clark was technically a millionaire for like an issue or two, I think, and he had that stock that from that stock scandal, and it juiced up in price. So that was a little bit interesting that they actually carried that over. Um, I had a feeling that it might have would have happened at some point, but or he might have would have used it for good. But it was nice to see that, these are not like standalone stories. And they have a little bit of a continuity, like not too much, but like a little bit, like little Easter eggs. So that was very interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, like I enjoyed it. It was different. You get to see him going underwater and do some fight some sharks. It wasn't your normal, like I said, it wasn't your normal superhero or hero antics. It was definitely something different, a little bit more unique, a little bit more relatable. But yeah, I usually give issues, a ranking out of 5 stars. I would say this is probably like a 4 out of 4 or 5. You know what I mean? It was actually a good story. And the last couple few I think were kind of like twos and threes. I think we had maybe like a couple of fours overall up till now, but this one was definitely a 4 or 5. You know what I mean? Story was good. Story was really good. And now this opened my eyes to where, we could even expand to not just adventure comics, but we can dive into action comics, but we can dive into adventure and detective and make a little bit more extra videos on those characters too. So that'd be fun. Um, but yeah, I think that pretty much covers it on this video. As I always say, I hope you all are doing well. If you are not, you are more than welcome to reach out to me. Don't be shy. Um, I do appreciate all of you that have been watching my videos. I do watch the stats, because I'm just weird like that. I like to check on the stats every day. That's what I'm doing, right now with my fan fiction novel. Um, like I said, I'll put the link tree link for the fan fiction novel inside the description if I remember. Like I said, it's on like 5 different websites. 3 of them are on you can use on apps. fanfiction.net is kind of user friendly. It's just a little bit more OG, old school format, if that makes sense. Tapas and Wattpad. If you guys know what solo leveling is, you guys know that Tapas was a very, very big popular place to read solo leveling, the light novel and the graphic novel, or the manga or manhwa, sorry. Um, so you know, if you know Tapas and you know solo leveling, that's where my fan fiction novel is as well. Wattpad, Wattpad's a little bit newer to me. I don't really know much about Wattpad. It was very user friendly, even though they both have ads. You know what I mean? It's tolerable from what I've seen. You know what I mean? You don't really need to sign up for anything from what I've seen um so far. Like for me, for solo leveling, I every 24 hours I'm almost caught up, but every 24 hours, if they don't have like a free gift pass, you can read a chapter or two, like I do, for free. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, I hope to hear from you guys and hope you guys' holidays went well. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.